Hey there, fellow marketers, Professor Wolters here, and today we're here in Bruges, Belgium, and it's market day. And today we're going to talk about the types of organizational buying cultures that you might find in a business. Because the different kind of buying culture that a company has, that an organization have, will influence how they make their purchasing decisions. Who are the people that are going to have the most say in the decision making? What are the groups? What are the influences? Who do we need to talk to? How do we set things up? We have to think about those things because each different organizational buying culture will give us a different way to communicate with the firm, to figure out how they make their decision, because we can figure out how they make their decision, we can find a better way to inform them, to get them to want to work with us, okay? And the first kind of buying culture I want to talk about is what's called a democratic buying culture, okay? Democratic buying cultures, obviously it's democratic, right? So majority rules. And so what happens is there's a multitude of people that are making this decision or influencing the decision in the business. And once they come up with a majority of people that prefer one way, they're going to go with that. So you as a marketer need to realize who are those key people, who are those key influencers that are making that decision. And also you realize that you don't have to get everybody on board, you just have to get a majority of the people on board for them to make that buying decision. So make sure you're trying to get them on your side. Now, another buying culture you might see is what we call a consultative buying culture. And here what happens is the company is trying to make a decision, the best decision possible, by collecting as much good information as possible. So that could be information from within the company, but also information from outside the company. So they're trying to get information from all over because they're trying to make the best decision. So yes, we have our opinions, but what are the industry leaders saying about this? What is the market saying about this? What are consumers saying about this? And they're trying to gather all this information for kind of a consultative nature to figure out what's going to be the right decision or the best decision for our business. So that means you need to know who are those inside out influencers, but also who are those influencers that are outside the company as well, and make sure you're dealing with them. That's why it's really important to have a really strong B2B network, so you're in contact with the outside influencers. You're in contact with the inside influencers in the business because they're going to be asking you questions if they trust you. And the thing is, what's also important here is making sure you have a really good web presence, an online presence, because those customers are going to be consulting all these things. They're going to be looking things up. They're going to be figuring out information. And if you're one of the companies that are giving them a lot of information, helping them make better decisions, they're more likely to buy with you than a company that hides information. And so then when they have all this information, then they try to make the best decision possible based on collecting all this information, okay? Now, the next one I want to talk about is what's called a consensus buying culture. This is a buying culture where everyone has to kind of agree. This is kind of like when you're going to be going and getting pizza with your friends. Now, I like my bacon, lettuce, tomato pizza with some mayonnaise on top, and my wife likes her, onion and mushroom pizza, which is fine. I'll have it. But in general, when we're going to order pizza, we have the kids as well, and therefore we come to a consensus that pepperoni will be okay, all right? And then the last one I want to talk about today in terms of buying culture is what's called an autocratic buying culture, and that's where one person makes the decision, the buying decisions. This happens a lot of times in small businesses, and especially with entrepreneurs, because they want to be in control. They want to be the one making the decision. So if it's one person making a decision, you've got to make sure you have an excellent relationship with them. You're helping them make their decisions. You're giving it as much as you can, because they're the ones making the decision. And you do see that sometimes. So think about what are those key dimensions that they use to make the decision, and make sure you're answering those, because that's what they're going to make in their decisions on, okay? So have that in your head. And I had this a lot of times when I worked as a consultant. I would see people that, look, we have all these great ideas and everybody wants to do this, but the boss makes the final decision. It's an autocratic buying culture, and they do that, okay? So do have a heads up for it. And the thing is, there's a lot of other buying cultures you might see and a lot of other things that might happen. I just want to give you 4 of the kind of basic buying cultures you might see, just so you have an idea for it. Anyway, I wish you all the best. I'll say bye from here in Bruges. I'm going to go head off into the market now that it's kind of almost ready to get going. I mean, it's kind of early today, so you don't see a lot of people out yet, but some of the tourists are out taking pictures of the cheese and the meats, and oh look, the fry guys are already opening up. Bye from Bruges.